25 major patch 10.2 changes in 13 minutes. Is this a good time for people to come back and start playing? Let's see what the new features are and why they might bring some people back to
Welcome
WoW.
back, everyone. So, as PTR has rolled on, loads of things have been added to 10.2, and my mission today is pretty simple, to get you up to speed with all of it so that you can see what progress WoW has made.
Yeah, we're going to do the new raid right after it drops the next day.
And seriously, from gearing to rewards to quality of life features, there's actually a bunch here, quite a lot to do. In a large departure from patch 10.1, Blizzard are actually updating old content to have relevant item level rewards in Season 3. Now, this covers World Quests, Dragonbane Keep, the Centaur Hunts, Barrack Assaults, Researchers Under Fire, Time Rifts, and Dream Surges. Of course, 10.2's new event will drop the best stuff, but these older ones actually drop Season 3 Explorer and Adventurer gear, depending on if it is a repeatable source or not. And that just means the list of useful things to do in each character has got a whole bunch longer, and if you do enjoy maybe after the progress on your main, just doing random stuff in your alts to keep them kind of up to date, I think this will be a really nice change for you. A bit of Dragonriding then, it's getting even more powerful. So, Swift Skimming allows for both Thrill of the Skies and Ground Skimming to be active together, which will feel a lot better, as will Wind's Respite. It gives you a 4-second long 0G hover after you use Aerial Halt, and then Second Wind is basically 3 charges that you can use to generate 1 vigor each, with each
all
charge
good additions to Dragonriding.
Cooldown. Basically, it's a bit of backup fuel. Then you'll also get 2 new dragons. The Flourishing Whimsy Drake comes from the campaign, and the Grotto Nethering Drake comes from the Verinoth and Rathian quest that unlocks November 25th, and both of these have got a full complement of customizations. This is a small one, but it is nice. Aiding the Accord now gives you a choice between 2 primary objectives, so it's not a gigantic game-changing thing, but if you would prefer one objective over the other, this is absolutely appreciated. Next then, gearing, where we see Blizzard advance a lot of ideas that they've been testing out. I'll kick it off with the Great Vault. It's changing in a big way for casual players, where Time Walking, Mythic Zero, and Heroic Dungeons now count towards the Great Vault, so it's nice for getting a little bit more gear, or even just those backup tokens, which can be pretty nifty as well. Normally, the way the gearing works between tiers is that a current season's Mythic Raid gear is equivalent.
Whenever I say a good thing for alts, it also means a good thing for a returning player, because all of this stuff is like very quick catch-up mechanic stuff. Like, if you can't do Mythic Plus yet, but now you can still fill up your vault with everything else you're doing. So all of this stuff's really good to just catch up and get to the current content.
This time, though, it's actually equivalent to
it's fantastic
LFR.
For gearing alts,
and what that essentially means is that item levels are taking more of a leap upwards than usual for Season 3. And that essentially means that your Season 2 progress is a bit less impactful, but that obviously means that if you're a player who's coming back to the game after a break, the playing field will be a little bit more level. And that certainly is a curious move to me. I wonder if Blizzard perhaps feels that not as many people engaged and they want people to come back to a clean slate.
This is the final raid tier of this expansion, so it's probably a good idea for Blizzard to kind of make the other ones a little bit less relevant and make this one by far and away the most relevant. Because anybody who got excited about the expansion announcements, you know, the War Within and all that, and decided, okay, I'm going to come back now, they're essentially, you know, starting almost at a level playing field with people who've been playing this entire expansion. And this is going to be, you know, the most geared you're going to get for this entire expansion. So that's good.
Maybe they feel like the upgrades in Season 2 were actually so generous that average item levels were way higher.
And that's coming from somebody who's geared as fuck right now and literally played the entirety of this expansion so far.
Than they normally would be without that system. Yeah, bit weird. But anyway, this is far from it with gearing. The big quality of life change to visibility and bag space is that crests are now moving to your currency tab, and this will free up so much bag space.
And thanks for the sub on YouTube, man.
Because crest fragments
Welcome
are
to our
also
Scourge.
gone. Content actually now just drops crests directly, and those go into your currency tab. Now,
so
the quantities are the
space.
same as they were with fragments in the past. Really, the TLDR here is it works exactly the same, but it takes up 0 bag space, a massive win. Next then, our weekly cap has decreased from 150 crests to 90, meaning you can do 6 upgrades per week per crest type. And I guess this is likely something they've slowed down because of player feedback from Season 2, and there are ways in which some people could like this. As an example...
Yeah, so because this is our first reset with Flightstones, I didn't realize this, and everyone's been saying it in the chat all morning. Your Flightstones disappear when the season ends? I had no idea that was the case. So I've been capped at 2K for a while. I guess all your Flightstones disappear, but it looks like the Panda's saying that all you got to do is the intro quest line and you'll basically be at 2K again, which is good.
It now takes timing like 8 dungeons to cap.
We're gonna try
down
Mythic
from,
one more
what,
time,
like 13.
Panda.
So to some
Maybe
people that'll be
Tuesday
really nice.
before the
There's
reset.
another great change then, and that is that you can trade up crests based on hitting
This is a
these
great
item level
system.
requirements on
Great
the screen.
system.
So if you hit those, then you can actually make use of all of the spare crests that your character earns. Now
Good.
it takes 90 of a lower crest to create 15 of a higher level crest. Though of course note that this does count towards the cap. Obviously, Blizzard didn't want some
Making
sort
WoW
of
great
crazy
again, that's
loophole
right.
to encourage degenerate farming early on in the season. Now, tied to that is our next change. If you are capped on a crest, doing content that would normally award that crest will instead award the next crest down, continuing until you've capped on everything, rather than the old way where the dungeon would just give you nothing. Okay,
Give you
tier
some
gear
gold.
next. This comes in 2 parts. First, the Catalyst is now out on
can't
week
wait
1
to
of the
get the new
season
Death Knight
rather than
tier.
week 7, and this means that by the time you would have unlocked the Catalyst, you'll actually in this season have been able to make 3.5 pieces of tier gear, which is really nice.
Getting tier faster, essentially. That's what it's doing.
Especially for those Mythic Plus players. Now, in line with this, they've actually decreased the drop rate of tier tokens from raid bosses, and you can sort of see why. The Catalyst being up will mean the non-tier gear
makes sense.
will actually be more valuable to players. But the tier tokens, because people will get their 4 sets so quickly, the tier tokens will rapidly feel rather obsolete. So, overall, the net change here is that everybody will get more reliable tier gear in this season.
Okay,
Also,
good.
Blizzard's past experiments of the Omni token from the final boss of the raid and the heroic tier token for completing the season mastery achievement, those will persist into
Good.
season 3.
Yeah,
Next,
essentially, if you
another-
don't know what those are, the Omni token and stuff, that's basically it's when you kill the boss for the first time at the end of Heroic Raid, you get the token, and then you can pick what piece of gear, tier gear you want. So if there's that one that you just haven't been able to get, or you're close to filling out your 4-piece tier set, that'll give it to you.
Loot change.
Another
Very rare
RNG
gear now drops as a
disqualifier, basically.
bonus drop on top of regular boss loot rather than replacing one of the bits of loot that the boss would have dropped. This
Nice.
basically just nudges up the raid's overall rate of reward, so that'll
Yeah.
feel quite nice. Finally,
All
then,
of this stuff's
the
really, really good. They're really doing a good job of kind of eliminating the shittiness of RNG and the bad feelings some players might get. All of this stuff's awesome. It really pushes progression forward at a faster rate.
E level of PvP gear can be upgraded with flight stones
They're respecting
instead
your time
of
more.
honor. Okay,
That's what
next
they're
let's do some UI and UX changes. Do you want
Oh,
dark
there's no
mode
UI.
for your quest
Oh,
panel? Well,
shit.
now it's there as an accessibility option. Then, building on the revamped class resource assets of patch 10.07, Demon Hunter Fury, Astral Power, your Stagger bar, your Insanity bar, and your Maelstrom bar are all getting brand new art assets that look
I mean,
hand-in.
look, that looks really good, actually, all that galactic looking stuff. Look, if you're a druid and you haven't played Dragonflight, you need to come back now. This is your time.
Let us lay waste to this
Oldie,
realm.
thank you for the follow, man. Welcome to our Scourge. If you're playing Druid, this is your time. For one, the transmog is amazing. The new animations and stuff. The new, what's it called? Customization options. I mean, there is so much for Druids. This is your time. This is your Emerald Wet Dream, as I keep saying.
Move pretty damn great. Also, talent reallocation is way better. When you swap talents, you'll no longer have
even if
like
you have a druid
entire
alt,
branches
this
just
is a
be
good time to
deleted.
level them up.
Instead, those talents that would have been deleted will now be marked as red until they're reconnected.
Oh, that's good.
And it basically just means you can much more easily and clearly
that's nice.
customize your talents. A really good piece of quality of life. Next, some smaller things. The micro menu can be made smaller. There is some UX reinforcement on the
cool.
Great Vault. And in your reputation pane, major reps will be grouped to the top, and they're also doing another pass of Dragonriding
Nice.
keyboard control.
Don't forget, reputations are going account-wide with the next expansion, so that's a great thing.
And finally,
With your
you can
warband.
see applicant roles on LFG. And speaking of flying, well, old school flying is now available in the Dragon Isles with the Pathfinder achievement, meaning you can slowly fly anywhere that you want, and also you can hover in mid-air. Of course, Dragon Riding renders this a bit moot in terms of like raw travel speed, but if you just
Yeah,
want to
you're
hit the
not gonna
auto run
do
button
this
and
rather
leave your
than
computer
Dragon Ride.
while your character goes in a direction, or perhaps you just want to hover in the air above a spawn that you're waiting for.
That's not me,
it'll be
that's
quite
Bellylar's
nice.
video,
Now,
that's
to unlock
lagging.
this, you need to hit Renown level 15 with all major factions. You need to complete every zone campaign quest and explore every zone, which, being real, by this stage,
Pretty easy.
won't be particularly challenging.
Yeah.
All right, shipments then. These are a new thing for profession people to do. I suppose a bit similar to barter bricks, but this time it uses commonly used commodity materials rather than crafted items.
All right.
Each profession can make shipments, and each week there will be quests. Amongst other things, these will get you dream seeds, and those dream seeds essentially can be planted in the Emerald Bounty event, which is one of the things.
Right, some people have gotten mounts already, they said, from this.
Okay, next, something rather huge. This will
literally
lead to a
day
lot
one.
of people rolling alts, and that is massive Druid customizations.
Yeah,
First up,
if you're a
Moonkins,
Druid,
you guys
man,
essentially get a revamp. You've got 12 different categories
with
of
all the
customization
catch-up
options.
mechanics, even if you don't have a Druid, but you've always wanted to try one, it's a good time, man. You'll literally catch up to current content, and just this, you can literally spend this week catching up and preparing yourself for the next season that's going to start next week. This is a great time to play an alt,
and an
or
area
just
for full
pure Druid. It's a
transformation
good time to be alive.
to go as well. And there's also a glyph that's been added that will randomize your basically
To destroy.
Swamp, thank you for the follow, man. Welcome to our Scourge.
randomize your Moonkin every time you shapeshift. So be it Fire, Sun, Moon, Tauren, Night Elf, you can basically like make the Moonkin that matches your character
Damn,
perfectly.
this is
I guess
really
you
good.
can actually
I'm not gonna lie.
match your Moonkin form with even your transmog. This
Is
is
that
a
a void
really
Moonkin?
terrific
What the
change,
hell?
and it's actually not all, because there are a bunch of new Druid forms. Okay, Guardians, you are getting the Rune Bear, Umbra
Yeah.
Claw, and Bristlebrune.
Get your
each has
Owl
got a few
Bear.
different color options. Feral are getting 3 colors of Dream Saber. Ground Travel is really doing well. We've got a Dream Stag, and then this, which is a Raptor Cat.
Yeah.
That is essentially perfect. You can also turn into a South Sea Nadra, which basically is a big koi, so that's pretty cool. And
cool.
we've got 4 new owl variants for your
That
flying
first
form
one
as
that
well.
he showed, you can get it from killing Farak. That's really cool.
So yeah, a hell of a lot to unlock. Speaking
The
of
fiery
unlocks,
owl.
hey, the Ember Court is now daily instead of weekly, so if the desire to return to the Shadowlands has been burning in your soul, yeah, you can now do
fuck?
that. Next, the feature that I'm
Why?
actually the most excited about, and that is solo queue RBGs. These are major for WoW, and they're actually a great source of conquest, too.
Good for the PvPers.
There are many PvPers who love rated battlegrounds and just don't play anymore because finding a team is a miserable cycle. So being able to just log in, queue up, and get into games, that will be huge. I think this has got the potential not only to bring back loads of ex-PvPers, but also new blood, like myself. I mean, I love battlegrounds, and this, with rating, would pretty much be perfect for me. As
Nice,
Venruki said rather recently, like it or not, the future of mass PvP kind of lies in solo queue, right? And it appears
Yeah,
that that's the
he's
truth
probably
of
right.
it, at least for how the sort of dynamics of modern player bases are engaging with gaming these days. Another nice thing too about solo queue is it does actually act as a nice learning environment for perhaps newer or lower skilled PvP players, and of course, because it's all working in rating, it should offer a better time in like onboarding to rated battleground content. Also, like
Yeah.
fast queue timers plus no barriers, what will that equal? More games played, more experience. Hopefully, it will grow PvP.
Better gaming
Now you get
experience
100
overall.
conquest for your first win of the day, 50 for further wins, and 25 for close losses. There are 2 weekly quests, and it's now an 8v8 format that is designed to be a bit faster than normal. And to facilitate
Interesting.
that, Blizzard have actually done quite a lot of work.
I don't
They've
PvP,
added in
but all
some
this stuff
power-ups,
sounds good
they've
for people who
rebalanced
do.
a whole bunch of map mechanics to just make things a bit more snappy. And they have straight up said, yes, this is a dry run for proper ranked solo queue rated battlegrounds at 11.0. I think that would be a terrific feature, and it would finally make developing new battlegrounds make sense for Blizzard to do.
Which
That
they
would be
are
sick.
doing,
Classes that-
already confirmed for the next expansion. We are getting a new battleground, and they said there could be more coming. So there you go.
Demon Hunters and Rogues, basically you guys have had real good news. Matt's going to be diving into their final sort of launch versions next week.
Yeah, lots
but
of
as a
class
TLDR,
changes.
right? Demon Hunter and Rogue have had a lot of problems solved.
Rogue got completely reworked. And from what I saw, their DPS charts look pretty good now.
And from what I can tell, just going around the internet, this has been a great improvement. Even small things like Fellblade now being a 0.5 second global cooldown, like that feels way better. The overarching theme then of this expansion of renewal for classes is really still alive. I mean, just about every patch has been stuffed with mostly great changes. We've had the Mage revamp, the Paladin reworked, well, now we've got the 2 of these, which seem to
everyone
actually be
who's
great.
been reworked
This
has
is
gotten a W
absolutely
so
night
far.
and day from the Blizzard of Shadowlands. To bump away from classes, if you are the sort of player that likes installing all the things and then taking things off the list, well, good God, you are screwed for this patch. One of WoW's most beloved aesthetics, of course, is all the Night Elf, Emerald Dream stuff, and there's a tremendous amount of rewards.
So
We've got
much.
these fantastic looking outdoor armor sets, the new tier sets, whole array of mounts,
Gotta get the
Emerald
Death
Dream
Knight one.
versions of said mounts, a bunch of back pieces, and many other things. For me, the real winners here are the cat raptor mounts. Yeah, absolutely will be
Those look
chasing
cool.
after them. Overall then, I'm feeling pretty good. Actually going into the Emerald Dream has felt so much nicer than being around Zaralek Cavern. Like, seriously,
It's
way
a completely
better.
different
And in
aesthetic.
terms of
I'm glad that we're going to an outdoor nice zone like this. Like I said, between the Vault of the Incarnates and Aberrus, I feel like we've been underground for a while. I'm kind of done with that aesthetic. I wanted to do some outdoor shit, and it doesn't get more outdoorsy and green than the Emerald Wet Dream.
much like size and scope,
That's
this
good.
very much is
I'm excited.
another
We're gonna go in
slice
there
of
right now.
WoW. It is a modern major content patch in the same way that 10.1 was. That being said, it is packed with some really nice class changes, lots of really good content. The new zone isn't a miss like Zaralek was, in my opinion. Yeah, I'm actually pretty happy about things, and it certainly is heartening to know that patch 10.2.5 is already on Blizzard servers, ready to be deployed to the public test realm. I would imagine very shortly after BlizzCon, which means that even if this is not the biggest patch in the universe, well, we do know that there will be some follow-up, and we'll actually see what it is pretty damn soon. Overall then, pretty good stuff. Of course, stay tuned on the channel because BlizzCon is coming. Big thanks to today's sponsor for helping keep the lights on and all of that. Check them out below. And with that said, I'll see you next time.
Yeah, no, great video. And look, the main thing is it's a good time to come back. So many catch-up mechanics. Not only that, if you missed out on the story and you have no idea what the hell's going on, guess what? All that story shit's going to finish out real soon. We have this patch, probably 10.2.5 and 10.2.7. Already a Fated rating season has been confirmed to be the final season. We're going to get a season 4 with Fated rating. So you're not only are you going to do all this new shit, catch up on all the gear, you're going to get to do all the raids too at the end of all this. So it's a good time. Come back, prepare yourself for the first in an epic 3-part series of expansions with the War Within. WoW is back, boys. WoW is back.